My name is Kyler Lubinich, and welcome to our gathering here at Unity Center in the beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. We warmly welcome all people, all faiths, and all lifestyles. It is reminded that today we do stand upon the unceded ancestral lands of the Musqueam Nation, noble guardians of these lands since time immemorial. It is here that we get to gather, we get to learn, grow, and celebrate our oneness with Spirit. And if you're here on Zoom or YouTube, welcome. Your presence is here with us. Thank you. Our mission here at Unity of Vancouver is to build personal and community well-being through universal spiritual teachings and practices. So please now join me in our opening invocation. All together now. There is one presence and one power, active in the universe and in my life. God the good, omnipotent. And now please rise and join us in singing our morning's group song. It's In Every One of Us by John Denver.
It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us by and by. Let's do that again. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us by and by. It's in every one of us. I just remembered, it's like I've been sleeping for years. I'm not awake as I could be, but my seeing is better. I can see through the tears. I've been realizing that I bought this ticket and watching only half of the show. There's a scenery and lights and a cast of thousands who all know what I know. And it's good that it's so. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us by and by. It's in every one of us by and by.
Thank you, too. So today's unity word is forgive. I find peace and freedom as I forgive. Forgiveness is not always easy. I may resist letting go of the hurt or distress someone caused me. Even so, I know that forgiveness makes space for peace to flow to and through me. I release what has been, realizing the past cannot be changed. As I do my inner work to forgive, I also forgive myself for hanging on to the past hurts. With each step I take in the direction of forgiveness, I open to love. Love flows to me as healing energy and as a compass. As I forgive, I heal. Letting go, my heart feels lighter, and I feel ready to move forward. My spiritual nature of divine love and peace cannot be harmed by words or actions. I forgive, and I feel light and free. So we're pleased to welcome back Stephanie Karlovits. Today, she shares with us the true power that is within us. So now let's warmly open ourselves up to receive what we need to most from her powerful message. All together now. Divine life expresses freely through me. I am open to see beyond limitation. I speak words of life to every part of my being. I am willing to choose truth over limitation. I am empowered by the Spirit within me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. And now please rise and join us in singing our new English translation of the Aramaic version of the Lord's Prayer.
Holy Spirit, creator of life and all, you create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Our oneness now prevails. Your one desire flows through ours as energy fills all forms. You give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment. You untangle the knots and bear that bind us as we also release each other. We don't let appearances make us forgetful of our souls. We're born free to act from our highest nature. From your presence comes a glorious harmony of life. Now these words are fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen.
Thank you. And if you would like a copy of that prayer, there are blue cards in front of you that you can take home with you if you feel called. So it is my pleasure today to welcome and introduce today's speaker, Stephanie Karlovits. Stephanie is a licensed spiritual therapist, trauma release facilitator, and consciousness guide for high-performing leaders. Following a profound spiritual unveiling in 2020, she transitioned into deep spiritual practice while studying consciousness, metaphysics, and depth psychology. Now a doctoral student at Pacifica Institute in Clinical Depth Psychology, she integrates trauma release, spiritual psychology, and nature-based healing to help individuals, teams, and leaders reclaim their truth, express freely, and cultivate deeper relationships with themselves, others, and of course, the natural world. So please join me in giving a big unity welcome to Stephanie Karlovits.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be back here. It's an honor, a privilege, and I'm so Thrilled to see you all. The rain has brought everybody here. How wonderful. So let us start with a moment of silence and just communing with that deeper part of us and the deeper part of each other. So I'll invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. And taking a nice deep breath and having this breath really feeling within your imaginal realm, the imagination, having this breath come into every part of your body, all the way down into the cells, into the different parts of the cell, the mitochondria, the power center, and all the in-between spaces. Allowing that breath to reach every far corner of ourselves. And on the exhale, really feeling the seat underneath us, really feeling the earth underneath our feet. Maybe even feeling the structures of our bones, that which holds us together. Let's bring attention to a part of the body that feels really friendly today. Breathing into that space, into that part. Just communing, sitting beside, being with the friendliness. And from that place, letting this breath expand into every part of our body, from our toes to our knees, our belly and chest, throat and eyes, top of the head. And having that friendliness expand beyond our physical structure. Into our seat. Letting it commune with our neighbor. In front of us, beside us, above us, and below us. There is an essence, a presence that animates the whole world. It's in the hummingbirds, it's in the clouds, it's in the mountains, it's in every breath. It's in the deer, it's in every human that's ever walked this planet. And it's in me, and it's in you. It's in us, and it's here today. Everyone within the sound of my voice is this essence and beyond. This essence is alive. It's creative, it's forgiving, it's powerful, it's strong, it's truthful, joyous and prosperous, it's just, it's fulfilling, it's abundant, life-affirming, and miraculous. And it is full of possibility. Merging with this essence now, it is us fully. Keeping with the power and the peacefulness of this inner body awareness. Anchoring this as it is. when you feel called and ready, we will sustain this, be with this energy still, with eyes closed. But when you're ready, just opening the eyes just a little bit. And maybe just first looking at what's right in front of you, allowing the light to slowly enter back in. Keeping the inner body awareness, keeping the breath, maybe expanding and opening our eyes further and further to accept a little bit more light. Looking at a few objects in this room, a few people in this room. Until we're here now.
I used to think that I could not go on, and life was just an awful empty song. But now I know the meaning of true love. I'm leaning on the everlasting arms. If I can see it, then I can do it. I've just gotta believe it. There's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day. I spread my wings and I fly away. I believe I can soar. See me running through that open door. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. I was on the verge of breaking down. Sometimes the silence can feel so loud. There are miracles in life I want to achieve. But first it's gotta start inside me. If I can see it, then I can be it. If I just believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day. I spread my wings and I fly away. I believe I can soar. See me running through that open door. I believe I can fly. 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 I believe I can touch the sky. I believe I can fly. I can soar. See me running through that open door. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. I believe I can
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Lovely. Okay. So our topic today is the power of choice, the part of us that can. And so there's a question that I have regarding this topic. And the question is, what is the relationship between power, choice, and what is that as it relates to our health and our consciousness, our spiritual hygiene, and our functionality and our vitality in our lives as humans? And I have to tell you, this talk came to me, this theme, this topic came to me as I was listening to a woman doing a workshop. Of course, I was watching on YouTube. And her name is Carolyn Mays. Are you familiar with this teacher? She's just like the GOAT. She's amazing. If you don't know her, she authored an amazing book called Anatomy of the Spirit, and many others. Sacred Contracts is another book that she wrote. And she's a phenomenal teacher. And she's a teacher that really had a big impact on me, specifically with that book, Anatomy of the Spirit, because it was the first time I'd ever thought that my biology was giving me spiritual messages, that something around an ailment, or maybe my knee hurt, or a headache, that there was actually some kind of communication going on between a spiritual aspect of me and my biology. And so it's an amazing book. In this lecture, in this talk she was doing, she was really harnessing the concept of the power of choice and our health and vitality. So she's a medical intuitive, which, I think it was in the late 90s that she was doing this, so pretty radical at the time. But she basically had this gift where she was able to look at someone, kind of read their energy, and know exactly what was going on with them medically. So she was taken in by physicians who could not actually understand what was going on with their patients. So they would call her up and say, okay, hello, I need help. Can you come into my office? Can you meet with my patient? I'm not really sure what's going on. And so she was able to see the energetic centers of that person, and she was able to come up with how to help them. And so she, in this talk, really focused, through her years of working with people, she discovered the connection between the person's perception of their choice in life and their volition and agency in life and their physical health. And to me, that felt really remarkable. I'd never really, in all my years of being in the health industry and even doing what I do now, I'd never really put those two things together, that our vitality, our physical well-being, of course, our mental well-being, but that it had anything to do with our perception of our choice. I found that really interesting. She said that every choice we make regulates our system and our sense of self-empowerment, and our health, our vitality, our vigor in life is associated with our perception of choice. She identifies the fifth chakra, the throat, as being the epicenter of our choice, I found that interesting, being a metaphysician and someone who's interested, of course, in new thought principles, because our thoughts, we think our thoughts and they come out of our throat when we speak. We're speaking truth. We're being with our mental atmosphere and we're speaking our truth. And so it's related also to what we say. How we choose is not only a mental part of our body, but we're speaking it. We're speaking our choices, and that's really important, and it's really vital to our well-being. She has this stance, and she says, and this is interesting, I wonder what you think of this. She says that every minute we are negotiating power. We are negotiating our personal power. And I found that to be really interesting because isn't that what we say at Unity? Isn't this what we say as a New Thought metaphysicians? That we are negotiating personal power as it relates to aligning to spiritual truth. And as we limit ourselves, as we are accepting less than what we are in some respects leaking energy because it's not the truth. This is my stance, not hers, but as I was listening to her and I was reflecting on my own self and this work that I do, you know, we spend a lot of time getting really caught up in making the right choices. When I talk to people, friends, even myself, I've noticed it with myself, is that I can get in this place of rumination of, okay, forget that I have a choice, but what's the right choice? And in this rumination of what the right choice is, I end up not making a choice. Does this happen to any of you? And so, but this thought came to me, and it was like, it's not about the right choice, it's our perception that we have it. And I felt this, when I felt this, it was almost like I got this relief that came over me. My job is not to make the right choices, my job is to know that I have a choice. So that felt really powerful. I felt into that and thought, yeah, that's important. She also emphasizes, even in the way we pray, you know, this is, of course we know this, being a part of this lineage here at Unity. She says that we're not to pray in any way where we signal to God that it's not enough. I don't have enough, God, make me enough. You know, this kind of begging and pleading that can often be associated with prayer. Instead, it's really important that also we take responsibility and co-create and stand in equal measure to Spirit, even if we don't feel like it at the moment, but that we say to Spirit, show off to me today. This is what she says. I think it's beautiful. Show off today. Let me see what you're up to. Have me see how amazing life can be, instead of making that separation. Does anyone know the person Alex Honnold? Yeah, a few? Okay. I'll tell you all about him. I'm super stoked about this man. He is a free solo climber, meaning he's a rock climber. He climbs rock faces and huge buildings. He does it without a rope, no safety equipment, no harness, nothing, no net, no parachute. Absolutely free solo. And he recently scaled one of the tallest buildings in the world called the Taipei 101. It's in Taiwan. Yes, I see, you've seen this? So it was broadcasted live on Netflix, and you were able to watch him scale, without any safety equipment, 101 stories of this building made of glass and steel. Yeah. And the funny part, they had, of course, video cameras set up. The media was there. This was like a big deal. Also very frightening. It's like, oh my gosh, we might see something we don't want to see today. Or we might see one of the first men ever to do this feat. And people were inside the building taking their own photography and videos. The smile on that man's face as he was climbing this building, it was crazy. It was amazing. He was just happy to be doing it. There was no fear on his face, it seemed, at all. And so, believe it or not, he did this in an hour and a half also. An hour and a half. It's like, oh my God, I can't even do 15 stairs on a Stairmaster in an hour and a half. But interesting enough, I listened to a few interviews he had did afterwards. Of course, people were very interested to talk to him. And he was being interviewed about a lot of topics. Of course, you're amazing. How did you do it? This is incredible. How does it feel? How did you prepare? But also, some interviewers said, how does it feel to inspire people to take deathly risk? And I was like, well, that's an interesting way to word that. But yeah, what's your answer to that? And he said, and I love this, he says, there's more risk in my mind being complacent on the couch eating processed foods than there is in the way that I live my life. And I thought, yeah, right. You know, we seem to think that taking risk means doing these extreme things. But what are the small risks that we take? We take a lot of risks that are normalized in our society. And no shame on processed foods. It's not really about that. The point is that it's something that doesn't take a lot of stamina or training or any kind of like big endeavor, you know? But we take these risks in our life around complacency. And really, as it relates to talk today, around our thoughts that we can't do something bigger or better or more healthy for us. In the Netflix documentary about him, they did this fMRI, so they put him in a machine to see, like, I think this is so funny. They're basically wondering, like, what's wrong with you? Like, how come you can do this, you know? And so he gets in the machine, they look at these brain scans, and they're like, we knew it, you're not normal, his amygdala is not firing properly, and the amygdala is the center for emotionality and fear. It's the fear center. And so, of course, they get him out in the chair, and an interviewer comes and says, well, your amygdala doesn't fire properly. What do you say to the people who say that, you know, you're made different? So people shouldn't aspire to do the things that you're doing in life. And he pushed back on this entirely, because he said, no one accounts for the fact that I have done 29 years, 5 days a week, communing with fear. I've been afraid my whole life, but I do it anyway. It's not that my amygdala is different, it's that I made it different over time. I've practiced. And so what does he say to the people who want to put him in a box over here and say, oh, he's an outcast, he's extreme, you know, that doesn't relate to me, I can't do what he does. He says, people want to think I'm different so that they themselves get off the hook, right? They're off the hook. He has a different brain. He's not human. He's a cyborg. He's weird. I can't do that. He's like, you can do this. You can do this. And I just love that, because it would be easy for him to say, you're right, I'm wired weird. I have these weird ambitions. It's not for everyone. Stay at home. Don't do what I'm doing. We hear that a lot, right? Do as I say, not as I do. He's like, nope, come on, saddle up, let's go. And I just love that. Another thing that struck me about this, and I think it's important, and I see it in my own life, is that who has been met with criticism when you do something great in life? Anybody? We do an impossible thing. We have bravery that takes every ounce of everything we've got. And we expect cheerleading. We expect to be recognized, because we should be. And we sit down with our loved ones, usually the people in our inner circle, right? The people closest to us. And they're like, what are you doing? Oh, no, you can't do that. That's too risky. I'm going to worry about you every day. Oh. So criticism, instead of it being a negative, how about it being a symptom that we're being brave? Let's anticipate that criticism. And if we get it, think, I'm on the right track. Yes, I am. Because even Alex Honnold, doing what he's doing, breaking boundaries of our own consciousness and having us have an inside look of what he's up to, even he is met with criticism. So it's imperative that we make bold choices and not let that hold us back. Not let other people other us and say, nope, you can do it too. Nope, I'm not different. And this is what I've done, and showcase that. You know, and the tie of this for me, as it pertains to God, to spirit, is that boldness and bravery is normal because God is brave and bold. And when we are in our alignment, we can't help but being that way. And yeah, it comes in waves. We're not going to be that every single day of our lives, and neither is spirit in some respects. We have winter seasons. But fundamentally, that's what's natural and normal, not the other. And so this brings me to a beloved poet. I'm going to read one of her amazing poems. I'm sure you've heard this before, but it's one of those poems we can hear a trillion times and still love it. Anyone heard of Mary Oliver? Yeah. So I find this poem to be completely relevant to today and what I just spoke about as it pertains to bravery and boldness and walking the path of truth. It's called The Journey. If you want, I invite you to close your eyes if you want to feel this and to be with this, if you feel comfortable. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles, mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though the melancholy was terrible, it was already late enough and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones, but little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own. It kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. Whoa. Another beloved person that I'll bring into my talk is Eckhart Tolle. In his book, A New Earth, he talks a lot about choice, accepting what is, and if we can't accept what is, to change it. And if we can't change it, to leave it. I thought that was pretty bold. I remember reading that being like, is that simple? Whoa. I've been negotiating with all this stuff my whole life. What do you mean? It's a 3-step process? He says something else in that book, which I find is really important in times where we feel like we don't have a choice and we really mean it. And there are unconscious areas of our life, of course, that we really can't see how much choice we have, or those situations or circumstances are quite painful for us, and they've seemed to come from the external world, and they're really hard to feel like we have choice. And Eckhart says that there's this beautiful medicine that we can have in our mind about it, which is to live it as if we chose it. To live it as if we chose it, whatever it is. Because as soon as we do that, there's something energetically that happens. It's not that we would have chosen it perfectly. It's not as if we would have chosen it that way. But when we just claim it, we claim it in our lives to say, yup, it's here. I'm going to act and live as if I chose it. It has a reclamation of power, of energy. We retain our vital force energy, and we align with the flow so that we can remember that we have choice. And when the impetus, that moment happens where we intuit it's time to act, then we can, because we're in that flow of choice. I want to tell you a parable, It's an 18th century Yiddish parable. It's been translated. And it's by someone named Rebbe Nachman. It's called The Turkey Prince. So imagine there's this royal banquet, and everybody who's anybody is there. It's a big celebration. There's just gold coming from the ceilings. There's anything you could ever want to eat. It's just this lavish event. And all of a sudden, everyone's having a great time, but all of a sudden, the prince, the heir to the throne, something overcomes him, and he comes into a bout of insanity. And the people around him at first look at his interesting behavior and think, oh, he's just being silly, he's just playing a joke, he'll get over it, or he's just testing the waters or something. But it keeps going on. And what it is the prince has been convinced that he is a turkey. He starts stripping his clothes, he goes under the banquet table, and he starts pecking at the ground. And so obviously his parents are mortified and say, come on now, it's over, whatever the heck you're doing, please get up to your chair and eat like the rest of us. Keep in mind, this is not a child prince, this is an adult prince. And he gets annoyed and says, I'm a turkey. I'm a turkey. And he starts flapping his wings and squawking and being a turkey. And so people get uncomfortable and they start leaving. They take, of course, the food wherever they want and have their last drink, and they leave the castle. And this goes on 4 days. So of course, if you're a king and queen and you are looking at your son and thinking, okay, we need to do something here, they go far and wide, using their power and influence to get anybody or anyone who has anything to do with healing, anything to do with psychology or any kind of whatever you do, to come and try to heal their son. Nothing works. Days go by, months go by, and he's still living like a turkey. He's flapping his wings, pecking at the ground, at the crumbs on the ground, and there comes this moment when they just give up. We've lost him. That's it. We've tried everything. Of course, the moment they say this, a knock at the door happens, and there's a wise old man. And they let this wise old man in and say, listen, no one's been able to do anything. You don't look that great, but if you want to try, you can. And he starts walking from the door to the table where the prince is underneath, and he starts stripping his clothes. And they throw their hands up and say, oh my God, I've had enough. The wise old man gets underneath the table and starts being a turkey, squawking his wings, pecking at the floor, eating crumbs, and this goes on for days. Eventually, the prince looks at him and says, who are you and what are you doing? The wise old man says, I'm a turkey. I'm being a turkey. What are you doing? He goes, I'm a turkey too. And they go on, living their lives as turkeys. This goes on. They keep going on. But eventually, the moment arrives, the wise man looks at the nearest servant and signals for him to get his tunic, get his shirt back. And so the servant runs to get the shirt, brings it back to the wise old man. He puts on the shirt, and the prince looks at him. Like, what are you doing? And he said, turkeys can wear shirts. And so the prince says, yeah, turkeys can wear shirts. So he signals to the servant to get his shirt. He puts his shirt on. Days go by, they just keep living as turkeys with shirts on. Days go by, eventually the moment comes where the wise old man signals to the servant and says, I'd like to get my pants, please. And so he runs and gets his pants, same thing. He puts his pants on. The prince says, what are you doing? And he says, turkeys can wear pants. And the prince says, okay, well, I'd like my pants too. This goes on and on. Over a long period of time, by the end of it, they're eating human delicious food, and they're sitting at the table, and he is, the prince, assuming his princely habits and his princely way of being. Although he still feels like a turkey, it's just that those two things can exist at once. And so, of course, the kingdom is so excited. He's been cured. He's been cured. And they live happily ever after. So what I love about this parable is it really is pretty anti-cultural to the culture we live in today, which we want people to just change. You're acting ridiculous, you're acting unconscious, you're limiting yourself, you know? Remember who you are. Come on, remember who you are. Leave it alone. But what works for the prince is not anyone who tries to bully him out of his turkey consciousness. He is convinced that's where he's at and that's where he wants to be. The wise old man succeeded because he came to his level and he befriended him. He didn't make fun of him. In fact, he put it on to try himself. And when he got that impulse from the divine to say, now is the time to add something else. To not shame or blame the turkey part, but to say, hey, we could do this too. We could have this new habit. We could elevate in this way. We can eat human food. It's delicious. Let's not have crumbs. He starts to do that. And so I think we can learn a lot from this parable. And so when I read this parable, I thought, where am I being a turkey in my life? And some areas came to mind of where I had been fixated on the turkey, and I thought, the turkey consciousness, where I've been having less than what I deserve or what I am, because we're all heirs to the throne. We're all heirs, we're all royalty to the divine nature that is within us. And sometimes we're convinced that we don't have that. It doesn't feel like it, but it is true. And so my question to you folks today is, where is the turkey consciousness showing up? And can we, instead of abolish that part or shame it or blame it, can we just put a shirt on, put a pair of pants on, have some habits of higher consciousness in addition to what we're already living in that aspect of life? Another thing that came to me when I was reflecting on choice and power and life and vitality was I was brought to my own childhood. And what came to me when I was sitting with this is how my life as a child was directly influenced by my mother, in particular, my mother's belief in can or can't. I found this really, really remarkable. Because I remember when she stopped smoking, when she quit smoking. And that was her saying, I can quit. And I remember as a child, I was very young, but I remember my life changing. I remember that smell started to dissipate from our trailer at the time. I remember that the ashtrays left the table. I remember I wasn't picking at the cigarettes anymore. I had an instant upgrade to my life. I also, when my mother decided that she could go to university, was a huge upgrade to my life. I remember going and being with her in these amphitheaters and being with her as she was learning psychology and educating herself. I remember her textbooks. I remember the feeling of being on campus with her. I remember that. It felt like something great was going to happen. And it directly influenced me. And I also remember when she decided that she couldn't leave my father. I remember that can't in her. And that can't really lasted quite a while. And I also remember the day that she felt like she could. And that changed our life again. And I remember those expansions and those contractions in my life relative to her belief in herself. And I share this because it's not just about us. There's impact. Our animals feel our cans and can'ts. Our children, of course, our nieces, our nephews, our beloveds, our community, the animals, nature, all feel expansions and contractions. And so one more reason to feel like we have choice and to know that it matters. There's a metaphysical law called the law of freedom. And the law of freedom says plainly and simply that we are free. We're free. That's it. And one of our principles here is to live principle, to not just know it theoretically, but to live it. And so what is a life? To know, to feel, and to live in accordance with that principle that we are free. And this doesn't mean this is not another stick to hit ourselves with and other people, like we're free, oh my God, I'm free. It's something to allow to wash over us as just a truth. It's just a fact. We are free. There's a branch of psychology called existential psychology, which is dedicated to our grapplings with this. A whole branch of psychology to say, people have a hard time with freedom, let's help them with this. People have a hard time with impermanence, let's help them with this. Well, of course, these are huge, huge concepts, but it's also a huge call up. It's a huge call up for us as humans to align with the essence of that truth, that God is free to be creative, free to choose, free to know the truth, no matter what, without condition. And so, in times where we don't feel like we have the faculties, the small self is really activated, it's really important to know that we lean on something larger than ourselves. We get to lean on spirit, and we can borrow from it. We can borrow its consciousness, we can borrow its divine ideals, we can borrow its freedom, we can borrow its bravery, borrow its boldness. Look no further than nature to see how bold it is. How many times are we cutting hedges down because it's just like, I'm gonna live. Yeah, there's a life force. There's a wildness to nature. And the amount of animals, the ranges of animals from the platypus to the cobra, to the bear, like, wow, that's bold. That's a lot of different species. Wow. But we can borrow the essence of that in our own lives, especially when we feel like we can't do it ourselves. I'm going to leave you with this. It's an adaptation from Myrtle Fillmore's Healing Letters. Really beautiful. It's in the Internet Archives if you wanted to download it. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's just, if you just want to feel good, it's good to read. But she says, it is necessary for us to establish ourselves in the consciousness that perfection is the only reality. There is only one presence, one power in the universe. It is God, the good, omnipotent. Deny the belief, the appearance, discord, limitation of any kind, and realize that it is nothing. Think of it as dissolved into nothingness. And with your eye of faith, see the Christ perfection established in the place that needs to manifest the reality of good. Conserve your vital force and your thought force. Then your whole being will be strengthened, and you'll become too positive to take on any false belief. Your thoughts of truth tend to make you positive. When you speak the word to help others, know that it is not by might nor by power, but by spirit, says the Lord of hosts. The word quickens the spirit in your patience, in ourselves, in each other to act. And the Spirit in them does the work. The Spirit in you does the work. God in the midst of us calls forth the divinity that we all need to express. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's very sweet. Thanks. Aw. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Stephanie. That was such a filled talk. So gorgeous. Thank you so much. Everything from Carolyn Mist to Turkey consciousness to we have problems with freedom. Thank you so much. It was really enlightening. Thank you. Thank you. So coming up right here at Unity, join us on Wednesday, July 29th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. in the lower level for a full Buck Moon ceremony circle. Myself and Fern Logan, are you here? Oh, hi, Fern. We will be leading the circle. The full black moon is a time of illumination, inviting us to pause and recognize what has been quietly growing in our lives. Named for the season when deer lose their antlers and begin growing a new set, it reminds us that growth often unfolds gradually before it becomes visible. Together, we'll reflect on the strengths that are emerging, acknowledge how far we've come, and consider what we are ready to let go of and allow the new. All are welcome, and the gathering is offered by donation. And please bring an item for the altar if you feel called. So join us, Course and Miracle group, every Tuesday from 12:30 to 2:30 in the lower level. Learn alongside like-hearted individuals as you expand awareness. All are welcome, and your presence truly does enrich the circle. Reflective Roundtable should be a good one today. If you haven't been, go. Reflective Roundtable, it's happening after service. Join us for a thoughtful small group conversation, exploring the day's message through shared insights, deep listening, and meaningful connection in a welcoming, structured place. Don't forget that our Mastermind Prayer Group is on break for the summer, but will resume in September. Today's affirmative prayer chaplains are Melba Burns, Brian Law, Jennifer Soley, and on Zoom we have Carolyn Cullen. Hi, Carolyn. So if you would like to receive a confidential prayer, our chaplains will be waiting for you in the front row after the music. Today is birthday Sunday, so please join us downstairs for some wonderful cake, coffee, cookies, and a conversation at a round table possibly. And next Sunday, we welcome Reverend Hannah Laura to discuss whether life is shaped by the choices we make or by a deeper purpose. Watch our website for all details and how to tune in online if you can't make it in person. And now, as we do bring this gathering to a close, please stand together as we say our prayer for protection. All together now. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And please remain standing for our final singing song of peace song. Zoom and want to pray confidentially with a chaplain in a private room, please accept your breakout invitation, which will pop up on your screen shortly. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.